Faculty of Department Computer Science to come on to the dais to act as chairperson for this session. Welcome you, sir. And I also request Dr. Vaishnavi, Department of Chemistry, to join the session to act as a reporter. Welcome you, madam. So I request the chairperson to continue the proceedings, please.
I would like to introduce Dr. G. Vishwanathappa sir. He is a professor in education, Regional Institute of Education, Mysore. He did his PhD in 1993 in education in University of Mysore, and he did his MEd in University of Mysore, and also he did his MSc Statistics in SVU Tirupati in the year 1986. He worked as Director, State Institute of Educational Management and Training, SIE MET Amaravati, Government of Andhra Pradesh, from 2009 June to 2020 March. And also he worked as a principal, Regional Institute of Education, Ajmer. And he worked as head, Department of Extension Education, Regional Institute of Education, Mysore. And also he is a faculty member now in the Department of Education, Regional Institute of Education, Mysore. He has a lot of research experience, and his doctoral study is on evaluation of pre-service teacher education program of district institutes of education and training in Andhra Pradesh. And he has completed more than 10 research projects which are funded by MHRD, NCRT, EDCL, and etc. And he guided more than 15 PhD candidates and 5 MPhil candidates. His areas of research interest are teacher education, ICT in education, research in education, statistics in educational research, pedagogy of mathematics, assessment of learning and program evaluation. And he published more than 10 books and 8 articles in edited books and more than 22 articles in journals, and he has completed or coordinated many training programs. We are very fortunate to have with us, sir, today. Now you can take on the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So, respected chairperson, my colleagues from the different higher educational institutions. Really, it's a good opportunity for me. Actually, really, I'm thankful to Dr. Sujana to give me this opportunity to refresh myself by attending to my teacher, Professor Dorosamy, who is good in the expert in this the pedagogy. And today, actually, it is a kind of a real professional development program for me. And by listening to his more than 1.5 hour lecture, and I'm really thankful to this the principal and organizers for giving me this opportunity. I always remember this the 2007 December I came in person to make a presentation in the institute, this hosting institute, that is the PVKN Government College Chittoor. So because at that time my teacher Professor Dorosamy sir, he was the principal at RIE Bhubaneswar. So he insisted that we have to go and they make a presentation there. So at the time I could get opportunity to see this the well-established college. Now it has grown as an autonomous college related to Sri Venkateswara University. Really, it is a good opportunity. At least somebody is required for connecting. At that time, Dorosamy sir, now Sujana has taken the initiative, because when she asked me, I said I cannot say no to her because this is a the institute where something, because the great teacher Professor Dorosamy, academically born in such an institution, and he contributed a lot to this, the area of pedagogy, and we are all benefited by his lectures in many times and many occasions, and so this is a kind of the a real refresh for me today. Right, I always recall one small thing, nothing to do with our presentation today. It is whenever I come across the Tirupati or Chittoor, I always remember a person, another person. I don't know whether he is alive or not, that I don't know, but he is the former principal of Sri Venkateswara Medical College, Tirupati. His name is Professor Koteshwar Rao. Basically, he's a forensic science professor. Because this networking and initiating these things on these the individuals, really a kind of a thing. He is actually basically forensic science professor, but he himself has a lot of what is this? The interest in the area of education. So he came all the way on his own to Mysore and interact with this, the professors like Professor Tarasamy, Professor P.R. Nair, Professor Venkataya. So then at that time, he has because normally this professional courses, they don't allow one professional to another profession. Now at least NCT is allowing this engineering graduates to come to B.Ed program, and the medical doctors, they are not allowed to do B.Ed program. At that time again, he did one of the graduation program. I think probably some of you definitely remember. At that time, Usmania University used to offer a program that's one time all the undergraduate courses one can clear in one attempt, in one sitting. They used to call it as a one sitting program in the distance education of Usmania University. He cleared, and again he did MA Psychology and B.Ed, M.Ed from Annamalai University. He has not stopped with that acquiring the degrees. Again, he proposed to the medical university to set up a medical education department. Because why? Because when I listen to Dorsam sir, there is a need to think about this kind of the strategies. At least now we have this professional development programs, faculty improvement programs, and we can do something. Even that with that intention only, these academic staff colleges are established as per this national policy on education 1986. That is now in universities they call it faculty development centers, human resource development centers. So this kind of an initiation he has taken, and he is started what is this? The working with the in collaboration with the some institutions. The Padmavati University Education Department is there, and Venkateswara University Education Department. Very near to Tirupati, there is a place, Karvet Nagar. The diet is available, District Institute of Education. Every Sunday, he used to organize Sunday workshops. He's very known for organizing the Sunday workshops, where the medical teachers, the teacher educators, and some of the teachers who are interested. There is people who are interested to support. Some like the kind of the medical terminology, medical assessment procedures, how the test can be developed, and other things they used to listen. Yesterday, just I could listen to the last part only. That those kind of things that they have initiated. I think probably it is a good step that PVKN Government College has done some kind of an attempt to do something. If it is definitely face-to-face mode, Dorsam sir would have done differently, made each and every participant to participate, doing something, academically. So that is because of this pandemic, we have no alternative except going for the online. Now, with this background, just I would like to start that, my presentation about the one part of the evaluation. I think today 3 sessions are there, and one is about the process of learning, where Professor Dorsam sir highlighted. And after my session, I think Dr. J.K. Reddy session is there about this outcome-based learning. Right? So now let us come to this, the one aspect of which is focused in this new education policy. My presentation, just I am going through this, the briefly about some highlights in a new policy on education, and then what are these main issues in higher education. And this recently they think the first week of March, UGC released this, a quality mandate for higher education institutions. Some aspects from that I will take, and then I'll come to this, the topic about the allotted topic, that is the rubrics in assessment of learning. And at the end, I'll discuss with you about this, the learning analytics also. So now let us come to this, the presentation. Is it visible, sir? Chairperson, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
It is visible. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. As I mentioned, this before going for this the allotted topic to me, I would like to say some of the things on just probably a kind of a revision. Some of your colleagues are many times we have listened to this webinars, and in the Shikshak Parv, which started from 7th September to 25th September, organized by Ministry of Education, Government of India. So we have listened to many things about this, the new education policy. That is why we could get at least some awareness about the new National Education Policy 2020. I still recall as a student, in even Sujana also may be remembering, when this, the 1986 policy came for implementation, the then Regional College of Education, now we call it the Regional Institute of Education, Mysore, played a key role in its implementation. So to create a lot of awareness, they conducted the programs. I think, one of about introducing Professor Dorsam sir, PMOST, Program of Mass Orientation of School Teachers. So that kind of, the mega program is initiated by the Government of India to create the awareness. It has taken a long time to create awareness. Now, because of the technology, we are able to create awareness on this, the NEP 2020. So here in this policy, one or two points only related to the higher education. I have taken this quality of higher education in a holistic manner, not on ad hoc or the peaceful manner. It is not in a peaceful, it is in a holistic manner only. It is one of the aspect it is highlighted in this, the related to the higher education. So the NEP 2020 also recommended the range from a systematic level to the institution level and quality issues in higher education in an inclusive manner. So that is why subsequently the document guidelines also came from the UGC. So NEP 2020 integrated to guide the higher education institutions for quality revolution in the universities and the colleges and higher education institutions. They wanted to bring this, some kind of revolution in the quality. So the quality is the major concern. So based on that, UGC recently given this document. It is available in the public domain in this UGC website. We can also download. And some points I have taken, which is related to this, some things that which we can discuss here. So UGC quality mandate to higher education institutions focused on induction program for the students, and the theme of this, the faculty development program, which is organizing for all these 3 days. Today is the 4th day. Learning outcome based curriculum framework, revision of the curriculum in regular intervals. That is another thing. Adoption of this, the information and communication technology based learning tools for an effective teaching learning process. The adopting this, the technology, imparting this, life skills to the students, social and industry connect for every higher education institution. That is even connecting this, industry and the institution. This is every higher education institution is expected to adopt 5 villages for the exchange of knowledge and for the overall betterment of the village committees. That is what given in this, the guidelines. The another thing, evaluation reforms also suggested, and also suggested for this, tracking of the students' progress after completion of the course. I think I'm sure that being a accredited institute of NAAC, so probably you already may be doing this. So faculty development programs or it's already, you're already following this, faculty development programs we are organizing for the benefit of this, the local or nearby institutions. Quality research and the creation of the new knowledge. So that's through this, the undertaking a research, the quality research, and that quality research leads to creation of this new knowledge, some kind of a contribution to the existing area of knowledge. So mentoring of non-accredited institutions, probably being a very old institute and reputed higher education institute in Chittoor, I think probably the NAC might have already given this responsibility to mentor the non-accredited institutions, and which are available in their own proximity. So probably that is another one. Some of the institutions, they have already given this kind of a responsibility. Now let us come to that particular what is this, the UGC quality mandate to higher education institutions document. There is a one exclusive chapter about this, the evaluation reforms in higher education institutions. So whatever it is given, I have just reproduced as it is. I have not made any changes here. So evaluation of the students based on this, the continuous assessment. That is what it is suggested. You have to have this as a continuous assessment. And I think probably UGC also came out with a document earlier, long back, some 4 years, 5 years back. I think probably more than that also. That the introduces this choice-based credit system, and where this the continuous assessment concept came, and the what is you call it as the internal assessment 1 and 2 earlier. So it's for the benefit of the students, so that can be used by the teacher to what is the multiple, to assess the multiple abilities of the children's learners. This the grading system is another one. It is suggested in that particular document, and assessment rubrics, we need to adopt this assessment rubrics, and question bank system for setting up this the good question papers, and use of this the technology for conducting this examinations. So this probably now we are all used to that, using this Google Sheets and other things for conducting the examination because of this the pandemic. So we all of us we are learning and so adopting all these the technologies for the purpose of teaching, learning, and assessment. And and is also given some kind of the assessment methods which we can adopt in this higher education institutions, like the particularly for this the examinations, preparation of a thesis or a report, what is this the dissertation, depending upon the project which you have assigned, individual project, article reviews, journal writing, case studies. And also it is also suggested some of this like the assessment in the oral mode, like the conducting this VIOS examination. I think the group discussion, role play, this rapid fire questions. So because this suggested to, because some of the students are good in certain other abilities, that is an opportunity. If you can restrict only to this the examination, written examination, so probably those who are good in oral expression, and so they may not get opportunities. That is why so it is a given opportunity to use this the measure this the multiple abilities, assess the multiple abilities. And practical mode of encompass lab work, the computer simulation, and the craft work. This is another particularly this for the purpose of this performance assessment. And integrated mode, like the presentation of the papers, like organizing the student seminars, and the field-based assignments you can give, and based on the field-based reports, they can make a presentation, and in the form of the poster, or in the form of the student seminar, and maybe can be encouraged to write a kind of the articles, journals, and other things. So these are the suggested methods in that the document. So the document is focuses on this learning outcome based education. This learning outcome based education is this the focus, and already UGC invited academicians to prepare this learning outcomes for their own course. And that at least we have some kind of authentic the content, the that is need to be developed, abilities that need to be developed among the students. Right now, so that is why this rubrics play a major role. I think this what is this the criterion reference test, and which they used to use our Professor Dorsam sir, who is expert in this the minimum levels of learning at that time, the assessment of the MLLs. So they used to use this the assess this the ability, how many students are become the masters, how many have become this the non-masters. So everyone is expected to become a master in the attainment of that particular competency. So in the same way here also we can think about that probably we may use even in the higher education also adopting this the criterion reference test, that is also known as the domain reference test. And the what is this the competency which is given learning outcomes here, which is in the form of this the three compositions. I think one is action verb which is included, and this the content and the context. All the three are written in a particular form of a statement. For example, analyze the risk management strategies for investment and insurance. Here you can see in this analyze is a kind of the action verb, and risk management strategies is the content, and the context is investment and the insurance. These are the so like the every this the learning outcome is usually we write keeping in view of three dimensions. So that is why we can also measure about this the learning outcomes, their attainment in that particular competency. And now let us come to this there are so many assessment procedures are there which is listed by UGC. The one of the thing is that the rubrics is assessment procedure that we can adopt. So rubric was a word or a section of the text. This it's originated from this the Latin word rubrica, which means this the redacer. It is actually so rubric is a scoring tool that lays out specific expectations for an assignment. This is the meaning is given, because normally the rubrics like the what is that they are expected to achieve will be described, and that helps the students to plan for achieving that. So it even helps the teachers to plan for this the learning activities also. And the what is this the uses of this the rubrics. Rubrics are this the description of explicit language learning goals. What is that the learning, what is that we are expected to achieve, and checklist of this the criteria will be given, and each criteria whether we have done or not, and we can also check, and we can also say once it is a checklist is there, normally we can say whether it is available or not available, whether it is present or absent. So like if we have a criteria of this the assessment criteria which is given in the form of a checklist, so that will definitely will help us to go proceed for knowing our own what is this the level, what is that we have done, why you are not able to achieve. So that is why it is a kind of the automatically that gives a kind of feedback. So what is our status, what we need to do further. So it's a guide for planning the future learning. So what is that we have to do, and it is also a kind of the scoring chart, only because that's what I have done only this much and I can get only this much. Normally people say I expected more marks and I have got only the less marks. So these kind of a what is this unexpected things you cannot say that this will be there. So the good rubrics tells this the performer, the student and the evaluator about the criteria for judging the student's performance. What is the criteria? Criteria is more important in this it's like in a tabular form, it's a matrix form. So will be given this different criteria, and so this the attainment of that particular criteria, and what is this the score that you have to give, what is the grade you have to give for that. So the criteria for distinguish between this better work and the poor work, and definitely that will help to distinguish between this, the good work and the poor work. So the work which needs an improvement. So that kind of a feedback can be provided. The criteria for scoring or awarding this grade is already given in the criteria. If you are able to do this much, and you will be getting the 3 points or 2 points or 1 point, or this so excellent ability, if it is there, the highest points, like this kind of things will be there. The standards are for assessment. So rubrics is basically based on some kind of standards, and this it helps this the learner, the performer as well as the evaluator, and improvement and achieving the excellent in learning. So it's helps for improving in this the learning. And it's there are so many advantages, so many uses are there of this the rubrics. Rubrics are useful, and it saves this the time. So just one of the the meaning I would like to say here, rubric is a measurement tool that describes the criteria against which a performance, behavior of the product is compared and measures. Rubrics is this the list of the criteria established for a particular task and the levels of achievement associated with each criteria. So this is a Brophy has given this particular definition. So this by using this the rubrics, we can save time, and also we can definitely provide the valid feedback. So this acceptable feedback, and transparency, we can bring the transparency in marking. How we have given the marks, how he or she secured 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5. So that we can clearly we can explain. Helps in knowing the essential requirements in the assignments. So what are these essentially that is required in when you have given this the assignment or the task or the project or whatever the activity that you have given. So what is that is essentially expected, so that can be known. So nullify this subjectivity in grading and marking. So it will nullify this the subjectivity in grading and the marking. So maybe kind of the difference in this the subjectivity, because there is a major when it comes to this the descriptive questions, people say that is a subjectivity is more. When it comes to this objective type of items, so it's a objectivity is more, because you cannot use what is this objective type of the test items everywhere, because but so this rubrics because of this criteria and the essential requirements for each criteria, by specifying that, so that minimize, at least almost it will nullify this the subjectivities. Helps to set this the standards for learning. So helps to set this the certain standards for the learning. What is this the learning standards that can be indicated, that can be decided by using this. So promotes the self-assessment and the peer assessment. Ultimately, so even this the policy documents also says earlier also this there is a much scope is there even in the higher education. I think probably like pedagogy, andragogy, we have call it as the utagagy, which is used in higher education. That is the goal-oriented learning is known as the utagagy. So this is the utagagy is encouraged. Normally, this utagagy concept is used in the research. And it can be used even in the higher educational institutions, because we can tell them this the utagagy is nothing but the self-determined learning using this the logistics approach. Here we can make by using this kind of the self-directed, by using this kind of criteria, so they can become definitely learners are become the agents of their own learning, because it's already specified what need to be achieved. I have already mentioned that there are 3 usually aspects there: the content, this the action verb, and the content context. 3 are already included in this the learning outcomes. So by using that, they can try to achieve on their own. And so because they can now, because of this the technology, so they can get a lot of support from different sources, and they can achieve this, the self, what is, the determined learning. So that kind of, the possibilities are there by using this, the rubrics. So promotes this, self-assessment and the peer assessment, and ultimately the self-assessment, they accept that, the why, what is that, it's kind of introspection, what is we call it as a reflection, and an opportunity can be provided for this, the reflecting on their own learning, and their own, so what is this, they will be knowing this, the criteria, and that criteria help them to reflect about their own performance. So that's why it promotes this, self-learning. And also when this, the peer learning. So in the peer learning also, this in the cooperative way that we are going to learn, this, the peer assessment. So the others also, they can also say this is what is the need to be improved. So that's will become, everyone will become what is, we become an independent learner, and they can also, this helps the teacher to encourage the students' participation continuously by using this, the rubrics, because of this criteria, because of this, the standards which are indicated there. So they become this, the participants. They encourage. We can encourage a lot of participation. So they helps the teacher to focus on instruction intentionally. So intentionally, we can encourage. We can ask, make them to participate in that. So rubrics can be used in various contexts. So one of the context, the learning materials. So this, the for various courses. Normally for this, the higher educational institutions, we normally have this, the course material. So maybe in each program we have a different courses. For each course we have a different units. That now what is this in the school level, they call it as what is this energizing the textbooks. And we don't have textbooks for higher education. We have reference books, and the suggested readings. And these suggested readings can be enriched with this, the various web links, so that there's the lot of information that we can provide, so they can this, the material which they can. So the learning activities in various courses. This also rubrics can also be used for the learning activities which are used in various courses. So how this, the learning activities are organized, appropriateness of the learning activities, and this, the modifications that is required for organizing what is, that is a learning activities. If it is not suitable to the students and it requires a modification, so it helps the 1 and 2 will help definitely the teacher. So this, the higher education institution normally this, the teachers will prepare this, the course material, and they organize this, learning activities. So to get the exact feedback to their own course material, their own learning activities, the rubrics will help. Understand the meanings of this, the concepts and terms in various courses. And we come across various concepts. I think the previous session Professor Darsams are clearly explained what is this, the concept of this, the concept learning, and using of the different moves of for teaching of this, the concepts, teaching of other areas like the generalizations. What are the moves that we have to use? So this, all these things we are clearly explained. So understanding this, the meaning of the concepts and the terms, because the meanings we have to explain to them clearly, because of that concepts and the technical terms that they come across will help them in further learning in various contexts, various situations. So that's why the basic the meaning of this, the various concepts need to be learned, and that is their attainment in this, the understanding of this can be known by using this rubrics. The abilities like the problem solving abilities, what is the scientific thinking skill and communication skills, all these things can be assessed by using the rubrics. Maybe we may have to provide this situation, the problem solving situation, and then how they are reacting to that particular problem solving situation, and providing this, the context for this, the scientific thinking, and the communication skills. So that is why we can contextualize, and thereby we can adopt this, the rubrics for the assessment purpose. the content knowledge in different disciplines of learning. And the various disciplines of learning, the content knowledge is important. There is content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, the technological knowledge, and the integration of all these things because of pedagogical, techno-pedagogical content knowledge. That is normally required for each and every one of us, being a teacher. Because now there's when it comes to the students, learners, we have to make them to become the masters in the content knowledge. So that is why in the different disciplines which they study as a part of the program, so their content knowledge in different disciplines, different areas of learning can be assessed by using this, the rubrics. And the abilities like the thinking abilities, and the can be these rubrics will help to develop thinking abilities, because providing this the context and the tolerance for ambiguity, link the learning with this the life, because the to link with this the learning with the life, that is ultimately expected in this the process of learning. And we have various classifications are there, but I am just restricting to that UGC document on just 1 minute. Just UGC document is there about assessment procedures. There is some document which is prepared by UGC, and then the assessment practices. And keeping in view of that, it is indicated two types of rubrics. One is the holistic rubric, and another one is the analytic rubric. So in the holistic rubric, in the holistic rubric, the whole is to itself a complete whole rather than being a part. So this is majorly useful for what is this, the summative evaluation. I think in earlier sessions we have already had a discussion about this, the formative evaluation and the summative evaluation. All of us, we know that formative evaluation, which will be helpful during the process, which we assessment which we do during the process, and summative evaluation which we do at the end of the process. So maybe that leads to kind of the awarding the certificate, or maybe promoting them from one semester to another semester, or one academic year to the other academic year in a particular program, or maybe promoting them from one program to another program. So like this kind of a things, in the holistic rubrics, the work must be evaluated as a whole rather than in a different parts. The focus is on overall assessment of a specific content of the ability that we are measuring. So it's overall, only one score is given for the entire work, entire task, only one score. It is generally useful for simple tasks. For instance, a short essay may be graded by considering all these, all the criteria together. Maybe you have given a task of writing a small story, particularly in this the language learning. So that how they are doing overall can give a kind of a grading. So the analytic rubric is another type, which is basically it's another assessment procedure based on the grid of criteria. So there are different criteria, and the analyzing this the performance, and so using these different criteria. These criteria will help to provide specific feedback in a descriptive manner. So it's helps in a descriptive manner. The analytic rubrics are useful when the assessment is based on several criteria. It is not on one criteria, it is on several criteria. It is these are the two types which we are using in this the higher education, because there are other criteria, there are other types also there based on this the classification, but I'm just restricting to these two only. That is a holistic rubrics and the analytic rubrics. And let us come to this the structure of a rubric, which is given here. I have indicated the source, quality mandate for higher education, published by UGC in February 2021. In this document, it is given this the structure It is a matrix of the criteria, which we already discussed already. It is a matrix of the criteria and their descriptions. We are giving the criteria and the descriptions on one side and the other side. So it is in a two-dimensional way we used to give. And descriptors are stated based on the marks or the grades. So that descriptors are going to be stated either by using the marks or the grades, depending upon the purpose. The assessment criteria define the characteristics of or traits to be judged, which should be derived from the course learning outcomes, that is, CLOs, and indicate what is expected to be demonstrated. What is that they are expected to achieve? What is that by achieving? What is that they are doing this kind of a demonstration? Learning outcomes such as describe, demonstrate, investigate can be stated as a criteria and descriptor. Like, this demonstrate. Sometimes we used to say investigate, sometimes describe. So that's a process. That's what I told you, is an action verb. So that's we'll keep that in mind. The learning, the outcome expected shall be stated and may be provided as grades or the marks. So the outcome expected shall be stated and may be provided as grades or the marks. For example, 4 points for outstanding. So maybe some activity, some task you have given. For that particular task, you have given this, the outstanding can be given. The 4 can be given to the students who are able to perform extraordinary performance. And similarly, we can give 1 mark only those who needs an improvement can be. So because this, so this is those who are not clear about this, the expected project, expected task for them. So a kind of the need of improvement can be indicated. So this can be given a kind of the descriptive way. This is one small example of the rubrics which is given there in the document itself. This you can just see here, and the first column is focusing on this, the criteria, and the other things are this, the levels of performance, 4 levels of performance: outstanding, good, average, and needs improvement. These are the 4 levels of performance. And in the criteria with regard to this, the content and the coherence and organization and the communication skills. And here for the outstanding, for content, all points regarding the work or the thesis or the project, whatever that the activity which is given. So it is outstanding and related to this, the content which they have expressed, indicated in their performance. So good points regarding this, the work, whatever the task you have given, they might have given some good points. Good points they might have given. And the next one is the average. When you want to give this average for the content, a lot of information, but not clearly connected to the task. So information they have given, and it is not connected. And poor needs an improvement. So not clear, and information not related. So that information which is collected is not related. And the another one is coherence and organization. So organizing this as activities, the examples are appropriate. Examples which they have used is appropriate. Presentation flows well organized. So that's not all this, the sequentially in a logically order. It is arranged, organized, and presented effectively, and mostly logical and organized, logically organized, and needs better transitions. So it's some kind of the improvement is required. And the another one is in the average, concepts and ideas loosely connected, lacks clear transitions. So not given properly, it is not described properly. And the last one is the lowest rating here: disjointed, no connection, no students' ideas, only just be probably reproduced as it is. These communication skills, these are like, the poise, the clear articulation, enthusiasm, confidence, and eye contact. While the communicating, so probably this you can observe and you can rate, the clear articulation, but not as polished. But the articulation is there; it is not polished. There's the little eye contact and little to no expression, because the expression is not adequate, and inadequate, no eye contact, and disinterested. So this is a one what is the performance what is the holistic rubric which is given in that the document. And the holistic rubrics it is not the holistic, I'm sorry, it is the analytic rubric. And in the holistic rubrics, as I mentioned, it gives this the overall performance. The whole is more important than the parts. So because it is a summative assessment. So this may be used many times in this the summative assessment, but sometimes it can be used even in the formative assessment also. And this is the another example of this rubric for this the holistic rubric. And the scores are given 1, 2, 3, 4, and there it is in the earlier slide it is given under the different criteria. It's given what is this the one stands for what is the stands for 2, what is 3, and what is the 4. So here it is given all food is this I have given the source also. I think if we can just highlight, you can get the more details about this. I have indicated here at the bottom. It's not much visible because this font size is very small. All food is properly cooked. Presentation surpasses expectations, and the recipient is kept exceptionally comfortable throughout the meal. So this is if it is there, then they get this the 4. Food is cooked correctly. Meal is presented in a clean and well organized manner, and the recipient is kept comfortable throughout the meal. For that, it is a 3. And the second one is some food is cooked properly. Some aspects of presentation are also sloppy or unclean, or the recipient is uncomfortable at times. So for that, it is 2. And most of the last one is most of the food is cooked poorly. The presentation is sloppy or unclean, and this recipient is uncomfortable most of the time. So this is a example which we have taken from some source, and in the previous example it is from that particular document only, UGC document. So this is about the 2 types of rubrics which we use here. Scoring this the performance. So these rubrics are used to score with the reason, because we are not just giving the marks only 4 points or 3 points or the 2 points. Why it is 2 points? Why it is 3 points? So because when they know why it is 3 points, definitely they say why they could not get this the 4 points. They will be knowing on their own. Rubrics used for grading are known as the scoring rubrics, can use it for summative assessment in grades. So this the rubrics used for the grading purpose, and the cumulative score we used to take and we used to give this the grading. An assessor, the teacher, can use this rubrics with the criteria for scoring, will eliminate the comments like I am not sure about the expected answer. I don't know why I got B grade instead of A. So these kind of comments, so we can avoid by using this the rubrics. And these are the now technology sources are there and support is there, and we can learn independently more about this the rubrics. Here I have indicated this the source, the Moodles also it is there. This is a Moodles, first one is given that the Moodles help page, it is there in the and where the models also can be used, and creating this, some videos also there in the YouTube for creating the rubric for using this the models, and using this the template and grading these the rubrics. All these things are there, and creating the rubrics from the scratch. It is YouTube. It is available, and some of this the Ruby Star is very helpful to the teachers for preparing this the teachers, and it can be used for this rubrics. So you can get a kind of the template for the different assessments, and because we are all involved in this the teaching, and we can use the appropriate template we can identify, and use that appropriate template, and we can use, right? And side there are so many documents are available for this the rubric, and this public gallery and various videos and other things are available. So these sources also I have indicated here in this. This is about the rubrics. Let me just quickly go what is this the new policy on education regarding this the assessment, which I have told in the beginning. Here the policy NEP 2020 focuses on this the formative assessment. Aim of assessment is for this the formative assessment, competency based assessment promotes this learning, develop this higher order thinking and critical thinking and the conceptual clarity. This is the aim of the assessment. Assessment, the primary purpose of the assessment is to enhance the learning and revisit the teaching learning process to optimize this the learning development. And also the main intention is to, we are all known, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana is very famous for this the coaching, particularly after class 2. So avoiding that kind of the coaching, like entrance examination system is to be reformed to eliminate the need of the coaching. So that kind of the expectation is there in the policy. So by using this appropriate assessment procedures, I think probably we can eliminate the coaching for the entrance examinations. And board examinations is to develop this the holistic development, students to have a greater choices, and boards become easier, and testing this only the core competencies, not to test only memorization. And what is this the so to twice this is related to the schools, this particular part, like this all these expectations. And even this NTA, we know that National Testing Agency is a government created body, and so this NTA is making some kind of an attempt to bridge the gap between the schools and the colleges. NTA to offer this high quality common aptitude tests for admission into the various courses, like and also specialized entrance examinations, common subject examinations twice in a year, like science, humanities, and the other areas of learning, like the arts, languages, and the vocational, depending upon this the institution. NTA will serve as a premier autonomous testing organization for undergraduate colleges, graduate institutions, and the fellowship institutions. So individuals or this the higher education institute is given the complete freedom to use this the NTA assessment for admission. Whether they want to use, they can use. They don't want to use, that is left to the higher education institution or connecting organization. So this is about the now just after that briefly I would like to tell something about the hello.
Sir, would you like to conclude, sir?
No, actually, just I wanted to close this
Okay, sir.
Presentation, and then I have to start another one is about this, the learning analytics. I wanted to say very briefly so that I can conclude. Because, madam, I have
Sir, some of the
commitment at
participants
2
are
o'clock.
interested in
Yeah.
asking 1 or 2 questions in
Yeah,
this,
madam,
sir,
that we
offline
can do. Yeah,
participants.
meanwhile, yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Will you
please.
let them or after the
Yeah,
session?
now itself we can do that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
we
sir.
learned
Thank
a
you,
new we learned a new thing about the rubrics, sir. But it is a tool, sir. Rubrics
Yes,
is
sir,
a
it is a
tool.
tool. Definitely, it is a tool, sir.
Okay, sir. Can you explain the practical usage of rubrics? Is it possible in day-to-day class? It is possible for a teacher to conduct a rubric assessment, everything, sir. Is it possible, sir?
Yeah, it is possible, sir, because whenever we plan for this, the learning activities, we can plan for the assessment also, sir. We cannot do separately, no, sir.
Okay, sir. Then can you narrate the step-by-step process? How you are doing? What is your exercise at your institution, sir, in Mysore? How you are practicing this with this tool, sir? Practical usage of rubrics, sir. What are the step-by-step that like the flow chart like this, sir? So that
Right,
it will be. I think it will be useful for me.
Right, sir. Yeah, any other similar things, if it is there, I can, yeah. Together I can take. Any other?
Excuse me. Sir, I'm using Google Classroom for the assignments for the students.
Yes, sir.
So the students are writing on the notebooks and they're scanning and submitting in form of JPG and PDF notes in English medium as well as Telugu medium. So if I want to apply rubrics in Google Classroom, how can I give the judgment for the assessment? Because they are in PDF format or JPG and a medium, English or Telugu medium. Sir. This is my question, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Right. Yeah, can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, madam. Thank you. Yeah, actually, the first question is about the steps that we follow in this, the rubrics. So how do we go for this, the construction of this, the rubrics? So rubrics can be, because, we cannot plan assessment separately and learning activities separately. So we have to plan together. I think probably if you can just see this, the learning outcomes which are prescribed in the beginning. This is the learning outcomes, which is in the form of kind of the statement. So that statement itself is a kind of the direction for us to proceed for planning for learning, planning for assessment. So in the planning for this, the learning, we normally keep in view of the learning activities and the nature of this, the concept and the morning. So the sums are clearly explained about this, the hierarchical concepts and how do we use this, the hierarchical concepts for what is the linking. And similarly, for when it comes to this, the assessment, it is already given, the what is the action verb that is indicated in that particular statement of the learning outcome. And also it is indicated in the content and also context. So keeping in view of all these three and making this the proper analysis, and we prepare this the hello. Some request, madam. Yeah. Naresh requesting something. Yes, organizers, you can just see. Yeah. That's the keeping in view of that, we normally plan for this, the assessment along with this, the learning activities. So we critically analyze the learning outcomes, that expected outcome that we are expecting, because ultimately we think that the students are able to do, because the So we prepare what is a kind of the template. Now this technology is helping in a big way for us to prepare this, the templates. And suppose each and action. For example, if you have what is this, the action verb and this, the content. So what is, for example, in the example which I have told, analyze risk management strategies. What are the risk management strategies? So the risk management strategies, and when you want to go for analysis, what is this, the basic level about what is the risk management strategies, and so maybe starting with this, the listing these risk management strategies and describing each risk management strategy, and the explaining this, the implications of this risk management strategies, right? So that if you can make a level wise kind of the hierarchically we can arrange and we can plan for this the rubrics, so that we can write the criteria, because this criteria is in the descriptive way. So this criteria you are writing in a descriptive way. So for each description, level of the description, it is in hierarchical, and we give the what is this, the grading or the marks for particular performance. So like that we can plan and we can. I think the first question itself we include how you are adapting in this the Regional Institute of Education, and this rubrics and procedures. So normally the whatever that we give here in this we are giving this the course itself indicating this some sessional activities which we normally indicate in the course itself. So in this the sessional activities which is a part of each and every unit. So these sessional activities we ask them to carry out, and these sessional activities can be assessed maybe in various ways. Sometimes maybe observation, sometimes maybe a kind of a document which they have to write and submit in the form of an assignment, and also so that we can also organize sometimes in this the oral, like the Viva and Viva's kind of an examination we can conduct. So in that way we are doing right. When it comes to this the second question is about this the PDF, the Google Classroom. This the students are asked to submit, because the Google Classroom, and when you have prepared this the assessment, when you have planned this the learning activity with the assessment activity simultaneously, so probably we would have made what is this the enriched Google Forms, probably, which helps them to maybe. So we have so many limitations here because of this the technology, and that they are writing using this the pen and paper and writing and scanning and submitting. That is what happening. So that is the that's what we are also doing. But most of the time what we try to use that they can write in the Google sheet itself, that the whatever that we ask, the maybe sometimes ask them to write a description, sometimes we ask them to write what is identify whether it is a essential or non-essential, and depending upon the nature of that the questions that we used to use. But ultimately we have to keep in mind this learning outcome, statement of the learning outcome into consideration for deciding about the assessment.
Sir, for general clarification purpose, I'm asking. So rubrics are generally decided based on the students' learning levels, right? So it will be varied from institution to institution, class to class, and teacher to teacher. So in order to check the uniformity of assessing in a single class, we set our own rubrics.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
can we indirect assessments? Is it really possible, sir?
No, madam, it is because most of the time, madam, why this you can just see earlier UGC also has go for a CBCS system. Why it is introduced? Given the opportunity for the classroom teacher to assess this, the abilities of the students, because maybe in the university examination or semester end examination, only we can assess their writing abilities, expression abilities. and some of the abilities which we can observe in this, during the process, that cannot be measured. So that can be done, madam, through the observation, through this, the rating and other things. If we can prepare this, the checklist of the activities which need to be observed in a particular performance. So probably the most of the time, I think from your question, I could say that, is there any standard rubrics? Can we standardize this, the rubrics? Like, the standardized test type, can we make a kind of, standardized standardization of this, the rubrics? So because, this establishing this, the different criteria may not be possible here, because we can went for a particular class, like earlier we used to use the teacher made test. So the teacher is given this the major responsibility of assessment of this, because whenever these higher education students, I think probably all of you are already experienced. They ask why I could not get a particular marks, why you have given only the 4 marks out of 10, 3 marks out of a particular course marks. So they ask why I have get only B grade, why can't I? So you can justify with this, the criteria. If it is a definite criteria, valid criteria, we can make it, when you plan, so we have to make a proper content analysis. Content analysis is most important for us, because the learning outcomes, which included this, the content and the competency and the performance, all the 3 dimensions, if we can analyze and we can put it in a proper sequential way, definitely we can make it. Because for all the classes, for example, in PVK in college, we have so many sections. For example, in a language, BA students are there, BSc students are there, BCom students are there, BBM students are there. For everyone, language is a compulsory subject, and the different teachers are teaching, and different students are there. So we're making a uniform one kind of rubrics for everything may be difficult, because the learning approaches and learning activities which are adopted by the teacher, maybe slight variation is there, and maybe putting together, maybe sitting together all these the teachers who are teaching the language papers may create some common criteria, and that can be used as a model to the institute. So ultimately, UGC is also suggesting to give the more responsibility, more autonomy to the institutions. I think I need not explain to you, because your institute is already
Yes, sir,
autonomous
understood.
institute.
So what we wanted is, since ours is autonomous institutions,
Yes,
can we
yes.
have the same type of rubrics for all the continuous internal assessments, sir, like assignments, seminars, and student study projects, field trips? Since we have all this for assessment in various disciplines in our
Yes,
institution.
yes, yes, madam.
So if we can fix some standard rubrics for our institution, will it be fine, sir?
Madam, depending upon the nature of the assessment, that is.
No, we have almost same type of students, same type of socio-economic background in our institution. Almost, it is almost similar. In as we mentioned that only the first 3 levels of cognitive process only we cover. Our students could cover, sir, so far. Only they can remember, understand, and apply. The higher orders were yet to achieve, though some students are in it. Maybe 10% students are in it who get more than 9%, 9 grade. But rest of them are below that. So we need to cover only these 3 cognitive process. So we can have the standard rubrics for our institutions, sir. Is it possible,
we can
or
make it.
it
That's
is
what
not
I told.
suggestible?
Yeah. Because the teachers teaching together, teacher teaching single makes a lot of difference. I think, Madam Sujana, Madam, you already experienced here in RIE that chemistry department, Professor K. Oshav and Janardhan Tantri, all of them, they used to adopt real team teaching. That has brought a different kind of, the implications on learning of chemistry in our institute. I think probably we can, adopt the same kind of a procedure in institute. When it comes to the assessment also, definitely, if the planning for rubrics by an individual, by together a team of teachers, makes a lot of difference.
Okay,
Definitely
okay,
we can,
sir. Okay, sir, then. Thank you, sir. You proceed with
Madam,
the
actually,
presentation.
this other part of the presentation, it is in the separate one, and
Yes, sir.
because
You
of
close
this,
that
I have
and go to that.
another
section.
commitment at 2 o'clock, madam. Can't be,
Yes,
because
sir.
you just,
Yes,
I
sir.
cannot continue, but I'll share the presentation about this, the learning analytics, because I thought I can do something about this, the how we can use this, the uh, data which is available, like All India Survey of Higher Education, planning for our institution, like being an autonomous institute, you may be doing for this, rules for some planning activities that we will be doing. I think JK Reddy is also eagerly waiting for it now.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon,
Sir, good afternoon,
yeah,
sir.
how are you? Yeah, sir, I came. Thank you, sir.
Sir, very happy to see you all, sir. I'm
Yeah, I'll
enriched
see you
with
in the
your
afternoon,
input,
sir,
sir.
around, yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm enriched with your
Little late
inputs.
joined.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, madam, yeah.
Thank you.
Chairperson, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm
I
very
re-
sorry, extremely sorry. I could not complete my presentation because of this, the other commitments. I could not continue.
No, what part we required, you have covered it very clearly, sir. We are very thankful for that, and we request the presentations to be shared to the participants, sir,
Definitely,
please.
madam, definitely.
I kept on requesting. Okay, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Now I request the reporter to report the session, please.
Anita, I am Vaishnavi, lecturer in chemistry. I would like to thank you, our speaker, Dr. Vishwanatha Pagaru. Today's lecture was very full knowledge and interesting things. It gave deep insights into the topic and revealed some things in facts. Sir, deliver a lecture on rubrics in higher education analysis. He delivers a lecture on NEP 2020 rules in higher education. The UGC quality mandate to higher education system, that is introducing the learning outcomes based curriculum framework and ICT based education system and imparts life skills in students. And also the evolutionary reforms in higher education in India and comprehensive list of assessment methods like exams, thesis, journals, writing essays, like the learning outcome based education system in rubrics. He delivers a assessment procedure like rubrics, the uses of rubrics, and the criteria for judge the students' performance, distinguish how good and poor using rubrics as an assessment tool. Uh, the types of rubrics, that is holistic, and second one is analytic rubrics, the structure of rubrics, and also the examples of various types of rubrics, and also the chart examples of the holistic rubrics and analytical rubrics, the resources for learning the rubric system, and also explains the role of NTA in bridging schools and colleges. Thank you, sir. Thank you for delivering this lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chairperson of this session and the reporter. Sir, thank you very much, sir. And we have few announcements for the both online and offline participants. And there are some more participants are yet to answer the first 3 quizzes. All the 3 quizzes are open now. We request all of you to participate in it. Otherwise, we should not be blamed for not giving certificates, please. This is the exit outcome of our faculty development program. We made it very clear from the beginning. And in the afternoon, we are very fortunate that 2 resource persons are one from Bharatiya University and another from CFTRI Mysore have accepted and voluntarily they have accepted our invitation to share their resources, and I shall submit the topics to you in your WhatsApp group. Kindly join us by 2 o'clock. Thank you, and I request all of you to join by 2 sharp, please. Sir, thank you very much.